Let peace reign in Nigeria.
Welcome back. Now we're moving to unemployment. Nigeria's unemployment rate in the second quarter of 2016 stood at 13.3%, up from 12.1% in the first quarter. So, in other words, unemployment has been increasing. Meanwhile, youth unemployment increased to 24% from 21.5%. I repeat, unemployment is increasing in Nigeria. So what are we going to do about it? We just can't fold our arms. Something has to be done. We have to provide employment for the teeming youths that graduate from our tertiary institutions every year. Now, to discuss this with us this morning, it's my pleasure to welcome a solutions provider and policy analyst, Mr. Femi Onakanre. Good morning. Thank you for coming. And on my left is an author and a human resource consultant, Mr. Dennis Ukpabi.
It's my pleasure.
As well as the national president of the Nigerian Union of Tailors, Mr. Wasiu Taiwo. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, these figures are very, very grim, and it seems that it is growing by the day. Let me start with you, sir. How can we begin to solve this problem, to get youths off the streets?
Well, the figures are very challenging, and no one is quite surprised about it. The projections are that some of these things are still going to, possibly get worse before they get better. However, the thing we need to focus on is what are the key challenges for with regards to employment, especially youth employment in the country. Some of the things we like to focus on right now is the fact that there's been a big drive of entrepreneurial spirit in the country, and a lot of people are seeking non-technical and vocational operations to try to, handle the constraints that the economic position has put everyone in. Incidentally, part of the challenge we have in our system is for the jobs available, the skills required are not, the youth do not possess the skills required. So we have a disconnect in terms of jobs that are actually available and, employability of some of these, youths that are around. It's not for lack of grit or qualification, but academic qualification does not translate to employability.
Would you therefore advise our tertiary institutions to actually engage with employers of labor so that they can agree exactly what kind of skills they should be giving these children? Does that happen?
That's already in practice, right? But the challenge with the marketplace is that it's a capital market, and based on a capitalist structure, which means that the employer is looking for the best fit for his resources. He wants to make money at the end of the day. So for him, it's not burdened with the task of your youth being properly discipled. He wants the right people who are available at the time to help him deliver the solutions to the problems that are at hand. Mm-hmm. Now, our curriculum, of course, as severally been said, needs to be addressed because it's a bit too technical focus as against vocation focus. But the key challenge we have really is that the soft skills are the ones that are missing. We're talking in terms of this ability to make good decisions. Decision-making ability, even for most graduates, is very, very poor. Ability to solve problems and think independently is very, very poor. There's a lot of crowdsourced mentality in how to come about, solutions. Communication is a horrible, horrible thing. You find graduates who cannot write simple letters, who cannot sell a simple product, who would not even do basic research. With the advantage of Google these days, should be a cinch. But those issues create a big factor for the employer to consider. And when you match that with the constraints, both locally and globally, in terms of the economy, right, you see that it's always just going to go down, whatever effort that you put in.
Massive indictment there. We have graduates, he says, who cannot even write simple English. We had a lady on this set last week who was talking about primary education. She had just opened a school and she was insisting that the education at the primary school level is the most important. I would like your comment about that and on what he just said.
Okay, let me start with what he just said. I have a different opinion when it comes to dealing with the unemployment issue. I believe it has to do with both the government and the people. They have to work in tandem. That is just my own simple opinion. Now, for the government will have to create the enabling environment. Looking at the figure, 13.3%, it's quite high. And the first quarter, it was 9.9%. Second quarter, it was 10.4%. That means that we have above 17 million people that are currently unemployed. This is a very big figure, and as I said, it's challenging enough. Now, let's digress from the theoretical approach and be pragmatic. Mm-hmm. You know, if the government says, okay, let us deal with the companies that provide the jobs. How many are there? You know, the supply of labor is quite more than the demand mm-hmm. for labor. Mm-hmm. Okay, how do we attract people from the unemployed market? If the government says, okay, let's introduce a measure, you know, to encourage business owners to have more unemployed people work for them, it will work. For example, the government can The government can say, okay, organizations that have that employ 5,000 workers and above can be given a tax deduction. It's not a bad idea. Mm-hmm. Those that have between 2,000 and 5,000 can be given a tax deduction of, say, 30%. Those between 1,000 and 2,000, a deduction of 20%. Okay. Between 500 to 1, I just want to make my point.
Okay, Dennis. You'll make your point after this short break. We'll be right back.